Hey five. So this week in maths we're going to be doing short division. So, otherwise known as bus stop method. You might know it as that. Our first question is 426 divided by 2. So you need to remember which number goes underneath the bus stop. It's always a number that is being divided that goes underneath it. It's typically the bigger number. So 426 divided by 2 that goes on the outside. Now, for bus stop method, all you really need to know is your times tables. So, how many 2's go into 4? We know that 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 must go in twice. We put the 2 on top. Nice and simple. How many 2's go into 2? It's 1. And then how many 2's go into 6 is 3. So we know that 426 divided by 2 is 213. Right, let's work through another example together. Okay, our next one that we're going to work through together is 156 divided by 3. So we draw our bus stop. The number that's being divided goes underneath it. The number that's doing the dividing on the outside. So, how many 3's go into 1? That's impossible because 1 is smaller than 3. So it's a 0. You have 1 left over, so you carry it over. That now makes 15. How many 3's go into 15? 5. And how many 3's go into 6? 2. Right, we're going to work through one more example now that you're going to work through and then we're going to check it together. Okay, year 5, this one I want you to work through yourselves at home and then we're going to go through the answer together. It's 204 divided by 6. So remember, the number that is being divided will go under your bus stop and the number that's doing the dividing will go on the outside. Give it a go and we'll go through the answer in a moment. Okay, so 204 divided by 6, you should have laid it out like this. So 204 underneath your bus stop, 6 on the outside. So, how many 6's go into 2? That's impossible because the number under the bus stop is smaller than the number on the outside. So that's going to be 0. We have 2 left over, so we carry it over to make a wonky 20. How many 6's go into 20? So we need to do our 6 times table. 6, 12, 18, 24. It doesn't go directly into 20, so we need to go for the closest that's less than the number. So the closest number is 18. How many 6's is that? 3. And then count on from 18 to 20. So 19, 20. You have 2 left over, so you carry that 2 over to make 24. How many 6's go into 24? 4. So the answer would have been 34. Check whether you got that right. If you didn't, go through the workings out again, see whether you can see where you went wrong. We're going to move on in a moment to remainders with decimals. Okay, so now we're going to work through some with remainders as decimals. So this is kind of a step up from year 4, which is where you just use remainders, and we're going to use it with decimals. So, otherwise it's the exact same method as bus stop. How many 6's go into 2? It's impossible because 2 is smaller than 6. So that's going to be a 0. We have 2 left over, so we carry that over to make 27. How many 6's go into 27? 1 times 6 is 6, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 6 is 18, 4 times 6 is 24, and 5 times 6 is 30. We haven't got any direct numbers. So the closest number to it that's less than 27 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24, so we must have 4 above it. There's 3 left over if you count from 24 to 27, making it 33. How many 6's go into 33? The closest we can get to is 30. And this is where it's slightly different. If you've got to the end of your number and you still have a number to carry over, you put your decimal place above the bus stop and underneath it, and then we fill our place value with the 0, our usual placeholder. and then we just carry on carrying over like usual. So 5 times 6 was 30. We would have had 3 left over to get to 33. How many 6s go into 30? The answer is 5. So the answer would have been 45.5. We're going to work through one more example together, and then I'm going to give you one to try out yourselves. Okay, our next example with remainders with decimals is 781 divided by 5. So, how many 5s go into 7? We know this is possible because this number is bigger than the number we're dividing. So, 5 goes into 7 once. 1 times 5 is 5. And we must have 2 left over. So, we carry over the 2. How many 5s go into 28? We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The closest we can get to 28 without having any left over, so having a number that's less than it, is 25. So that must be 5. If you count them from 25 to 28, that's 3 remaining. So carry that one over. How many 5s go into 31? The closest we can get is 30. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 6 times 5. So we write the 6 above it. We've still got 1 left over to get from 30 to 31, but we've reached the end of the number. So we just have to remember to put our decimals at the end of the top and the bottom number, put our 0 placeholder, and then we carry over like usual. How many 5s go into 10? 2. Right, we're going to work through one example for you to do at home now, and then we'll talk through it afterwards. Okay, Year 5, so I want you to work through this question at home. 719 divided by 4. Remember, there will be a remainder, so don't forget your decimals and your 0 placeholder. We'll talk about it in just a moment. So now you've given that a go at home, let's go through the answers. 4 goes into 7 once, because 1 times 4 is 4. To count on from 4 to 7, there must be 3 left over. Carry that one over. How many 4s go into 31? So let's work out 4 times tables. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So remember, we're trying to get as close to this number as possible, but we cannot go over that number. So the closest number we can get that's less than 31 is 28. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 4. So write the 7 above. Count on from 28 to 31, 29, 30, 31. That's 3 left over. How many 4s go into 39? We can carry on our times tables, so 36, 40. The closest we can get to 39 without going over it is 36. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll have 3 left over. So we've reached the end of our number, so we need to make sure we put our decimal places in. Our 0 placeholder. Carry over our 3. So the closest we can get to 30 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 28. We have 2 left over to go from 28 to 30. So we need to do another 0 placeholder, because that's the only digit that goes after it. Our 2 that's carried over. How many 4s go into 20? 5. So your answer should have been 179.75. Hopefully that gives you some extra help on how to do short division, and I'll see you again next week.